Hi folks, Dr. Jim Gishwin here, retired career intelligence analyst from the Pentagon under Reagan. Don't worry, a lot of my stuff's out of date, but my thinking is not out of date, okay? Because every history repeats itself. So I've seen this before, okay? The only trouble is 50 years from the day that Nixon just about resigned, he did it for the good of the country, not for the good of the party. I am so upset at these idiots. Aren't they American? Apparently not, because they degraded our society into something that would make Caligula embarrassed, into the depths of depravity, taking away our culture, our religion, our free speech, and yet Trump is the threat to democracy? Look what they're doing right now. What they're doing right now is criminal, besides being elder abuse. Okay, Jill, so you want to be First Lady. You want your own band song played when you enter the room, like Hail to the Chief. And what business does she have and Hunter have sitting in on classified meetings and telling cabinet members what to do? I didn't elect them. Of course, I didn't elect Biden either. Doesn't matter. But at least when you got Trump, he appointed people into positions. And he did his presidential duties. He made the decisions. Oh, sure, Kennedy got advice from his brother Bobby. But Kennedy made the decision. I don't mind family members being part of it. If you can work together, fine. If you get along well together and you all meld together, hey, more the merrier. Okay? But you're not the president. You're not access to the nuclear codes. When he goes to bed at 8 o'clock at night and the press secretary says, well, he's got his people. His people are not authorized to use the codes. I didn't elect his people. His people were never on the ballot. This is a crime against our republic. And of course they're going to say existential threat to democracy. There is no democracy. There isn't a damn democratic place in the world. Democracy is mob rule. Pure democracy was proven wrong in Greece. That's why Athens failed as a city-state, because it could not get anything done, because everyone had a vote. Okay? A republic is what we are. We are considered, and that's what Ben Franklin called it after the Constitutional Convention. When they asked him what kind of government, he said, a republic if you can keep it. We are a representative constitutional republic. We are a federation of states. Okay? That's where you get the Federalist Papers from. And meanwhile, the existential threat to democracy are these idiots in every totalitarian government in the world. First thing they do is go after your guns and go after your free speech. Now what the heck do you think these people have been doing with their Ministry of Truth and everything else? Wake up, people. The enemy's in the gates. The enemy's in the gates. God help us. And I'm praying that God does help us. These people should be sitting there taking him out of office right now. They should have never put him in. They knew when Jim Clyburn and Obama cooked up the scheme, when Biden and Harris were both failing in the primaries, to look for someone that they could handle, and they found him. Why else would Harris sit there and join up with a racist? And she called him a racist in the primaries. And he was. He was schooled by segregationalists. back in the old days. That's who he hung with. The man's a racist. He said so many racist things in his life. How can black people vote for this man and not sit there and know what the heck he is? And the only bill he got successfully passed in Congress was back in the mid-1990s, which locked up more black men than anything else, that Trump had to sit there and go in for prison reform and free. You can't make this stuff up. It is too insane. Okay? And we're giving money to both sides, Hamas and the Israelis. Which side are we on? We've always been on the Israeli side. This guy is a traitor. They're all traitors. They are communist Marxists. The first thing they go after is freedom of speech. And then they sit there and the ends justifies the means. And you will see, they will do anything to stay in power. They don't care about the safety of the national security of this government and of you. They don't care the fact that there's no president. We didn't sit there and set up something called group rule or cabal rule, whatever. We're not supposed to be ruled. Okay? We are citizens, not subjects. And get that through your head, people. Grab a hold of what's inside you and call it citizenship, not subjugation. They use the word democracy to sit there, and Woodrow Wilson was the first one to use it, the biggest progressive of them all. Okay? Authoritarian, and he hated the Constitution. Okay? He was the first threat to democracy right there, Woodrow Wilson. And his wife pulled the same crap that Jill's trying to pull right now. Because he was dying for the last 13 months of his presidency, just like Roosevelt was dying for the last 13 months of his presidency. And they hid it. Why the Democrats sit there and seem to want to hide all this stuff? They cooked this stuff up during the primaries, folks. That's why Biden campaigned in his basement. They were hiding them. He had that problem before he even assumed office. And everyone up there knows it. That's why they knew they could handle him. And Jill wanted to be First Lady. And of course, you can't interfere with Jim Biden and Hunter Biden's business. No siree. Got to keep that money flowing. So you got to keep him in office. Doesn't matter if it hurts the country. Okay? You got selfish means, don't you? Selfish needs, don't you, Jill? Don't you, Hunter? So, selfish people. These are un-American people. These are traitors. They should be thinking of the good of the country. He should not be one more minute in presidency. If he's not able to run for re-election, he ain't able to be president now. You can't have a part-time president. It's just not going to work. It seems every time it's the Democrats that have pulled this crap. You try to see a Republican get away with it. Wilson, Roosevelt, Kennedy was sick. Okay? And now Biden. People, this isn't a comic book. This isn't one of your little adventures you can escape into. This is real life. And yes, China sat there and put people, Chinese settlers into Tibet to quell all the riots and stuff in Tibet because eventually the Chinese outnumbered the Tibetans. It's called population transfer. What do you think they're doing with 100,000 fighting-age Chinese males coming across our border? They had an actual police station, for God's sake, in the middle of New York City, policing Chinese people. And now there's subs, and we got another Cuban Missile Crisis off the coast of Key West in Cuba. You think this man can handle it? He ain't no Kennedy. Far from it. We have no one in charge. I do not want Jill making decisions for us. I do not want Hunter, especially if he's got some crack up his nose, making decisions for us. Nor the other people that hid things, like Obama. They say that only God can sit there and get stubborn Joe to bow out. Well, you're ruining your legacy, whatever legacy you got, Joe. The longer you stick in, the worse it's going to get. You're hurting the United States. Think of the United States and not yourself for once, for God's sake. You say you're an American. You say you want to sit there and preserve democracy. This is a republic. And you're ruining it. You've been ruining it. We pay 20% more for everything, for God's sake. We've got enemies attacking us everywhere. We've got enemies coming across our border. You've lost 100,000 children that you sit there and let go into child slavery. You've lost 400 terrorists that you can't account for. You only caught 50 out of the 400 after you found out that they were making bombs. We're in deep kimchi, folks. We need to get serious, but do not relax. They say Trump's serene, that he's just letting it all coast by him and stuff like that. Do not relax. Do not relax those butt muscles. Okay? Because they'll have some October surprise coming. They'll cheat. They'll do something. Stay on guard. Okay? And vote. I could say like a Democrat, vote as often as you can. But I'll leave you with, God bless you. Please, dear Lord, please help us. God help us. I remain your humble servant. And pray for this republic.